Phoebe and I have some exciting news. We're going to be attending and presenting at Podcastapalooza Color Pop.
It's a 3-night, 4-day full hotel takeover, June 3rd through the 6th, 2022.
That means no one else, other than us swinger couples, thruples, and polyquads.
There will be seminars hosted by sex-positive educators, pool parties, meet and mingles, playrooms, party games, DJs, and nightly themed events.
Join us and all your favorite lifestyle podcasters for a fun-filled and educational weekend. Visit swingeruniversity.com for a link to the event.
This event has sold out each time it happens, and this year is selling quickly.
Orgasms are not guaranteed. Participation is not required.
Welcome to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment program. Slip into something more comfortable. It's class time. Here are your hosts, Ed and Phoebe.
Hi, this is Ed.
And this is Phoebe.
Today we're talking about sport fucking versus love making in the lifestyle. We've mostly encountered sport fucking while swinging, but recently had a love making session with another couple. This episode breaks down the difference between the two styles of sex and what it was like. This may be a bit controversial, so if you have additional questions or comments after this episode, please email us your thoughts. We'd love to hear your perspective on it.
But before we get started, Ed and I want to ask for your help. It's our desire to reach more people with our podcast, and here's what you can do. Rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Mention Swinger University on social media. Tell your friends about our podcast. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can find all the links to our social media in the show notes of this episode. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate all the support you give to us and our podcast. Enough business. Let's get fucking, or talking about fucking, or lovemaking.
Or both.
Woo!
Is there a difference between fucking and lovemaking? And we just hit the R rating because we said fuck more than once in the episode. So there you go. What defines those two different terms?
Yes. So here's what Webster says. Lovemaking, sexual activity between lovers, especially sexual intercourse. All right. So then I was like, okay, well then what's defined? What's a lover?
Right.
A partner in a sexual or romantic relationship outside marriage. And I was like, what? And then I read more. A person who likes or enjoys something specific. So now I was like, oh, dang, Webster, you've defined lover almost like a swinger.
Right? Because it pretty much is just a sexual relationship.
Right?
So that would make all of us lovers, which would make the act of engaging with that love making.
Making isn't specific to just the one you love.
Right. So let's get on with the other definitions.
Okay.
So to fuck, to have sex with someone, and it's great. We've been watching this little documentary series on the origin of the word fuck. Nicolas Cage does a great job of talking about it, and a bunch of comedians. So if you get a chance to watch that, it's freaking hilarious.
It's great.
It's all the cuss words, and anyway, fuck is the first one, and it's great.
And he says it so many different ways. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's a fabulous word.
Fuck.
Sport fuck. Casual sex with friend or other person requiring no commitment to have a good time. Now, I usually describe or use the word sport fuck to describe something a little bit more visceral than this.
Right.
In my mind, when I hear sport fuck, it's
very active.
Very athletic, right? Like a sport. And semi-violent, not kinky violent, but just it's not soft.
Yes.
Like it's a pounding.
Yes.
We're talking like the headboard smacking up against the hotel room wall kind of fucking.
Yeah.
But
And so Ed and I did something new, which is what spurred on this whole podcast, because, you know, something happened and I was like, wow, this was a whole other experience. And then I thought about it and I tried to define it and analyze it and all those things that I like to do. So we traveled for a hotel play date.
Never do that.
Never done that before. It was easy. It was exciting and very surprising.
Yes.
Like, in a good way. And the surprising part was in reference to these definitions. And like I said earlier, I was quite surprised by my perspective.
Right. You were trying to put words to describe the
how
experience.
Different it was. Yes. Right. And so we'll get to that. Okay. So you already have kind of a window into what I'm going to talk about. But here's the scene. We decided to take an out-of-town trip to meet our super hot red couple, whom we've played with before at other venues. But going out of town and getting a hotel room and staying the night and doing the dinner and all that stuff, this is all new, like I said.
Right.
So we did. We got the room. We went to dinner. Fabulous dinner. It was
Mexican food. It was great.
So great. So great.
Margaritas. It was good.
Yes. We go back to the hotel. We change. Mrs. Red and I change into lingerie. We have a few more drinks. Not a lot, because we had some at dinner. And we were talking and chatting, and then
things happened.
We had sex, and then we slept in the same room. It was a super cool swinger slumber party, which was new and different. We woke up the next day, and it was like that. Done. End of podcast. Bye. See you later. No, just kidding. Okay, so here's what happened. Sex with Mr. Red. What I like about sex with Mr. Red is he's very present. It's not a race. There's full eye contact and this full connection to what feels good in the moment. The sex was very sensual and fun. Wasn't about hammer time. In fact, he was giving me oral and he was down there and he's like, all right. And he's like, I'm sure you've had enough. I'm like, no, you need to get back down there. I told him I'm going to get back down there. It was really nice. And oral for me is very challenging because I'm
kind of hit and miss.
It is. I'm extremely sensitive. And so I gave him a little direction, like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 hints, like not a lot. He knew exactly what to do with that information and went to town. And I was like, oh my God, stay down there. Oh God, that was so good. Whew, I'm getting warm already. Okay. Even with Mrs. Red and Ed on the other side of the room, on the other bed, because there's 2 queen beds in the room, I wasn't distracted. I was just in the moment over there. I was in the moment. And so here's, I don't know, we were probably, I don't know, how long did this sex session go on? While you and Mrs. Red were
quite a while
over there.
Yeah, we were up pretty
like
late that night.
Hours. And we took a break and then we all went back at it again. And what was so cool was that after I described this session with Mr. Red as lovemaking, and it wasn't creepy at all. And so I'm talking to Ed and I'm like, it felt like lovemaking, but not in a weird way. Not in a like a you with sex with you kind of Ed way.
Right.
And so I know all of you are like freaking out right now, so let me try to break this down. So my ability to mentally, emotionally separate the difference between the lovemaking experiences with Ed versus Mr. Red fascinated me, which is why I was telling you I looked up these definitions. And this perspective, I will tell you, is way different than my perspective 10 years ago. And so when I say lovemaking, it was intimate, it was intentional, and an appreciation of my entire body. That's what that experience was. And I wasn't just a hole to be fucked, which, you know, can happen in lifestyle and happens to, you know, the best of us, and almost made me stop from staying in the lifestyle.
Sure. It wasn't that much fun.
But I will say it has to do with the quality of the people that both Mr. and Mrs. Red are. I mean, knowing their mental and emotional fortitude, and they have to rise above that extreme, they had some extreme adversity in their life, and hang on to their humanity and empathy and kindness. Like, that's what makes them so special. And we have a few friends like this in our life that are just true diamonds. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's this connection to people, that nirvana that we always heard about. You know, when we first started in the lifestyle, we're like, oh, you know, this connection to this couple. And we're like, yeah. And we're like, that never exists, because we had the damnedest time trying to find those connections with people. And now I get it, though. Why?
When you can find the connection,
well,
it's really good.
I wasn't ready for that type of vulnerability.
Well, there's that, too.
Because I wasn't confident that it was going to not threaten our connection.
Right. We talked about that early on, and that we didn't want to break what we had.
Exactly.
And, you know, going into this and, you know, getting attached, and I wouldn't say that we have an emotional attachment to them, but we have a very strong friendship with them, and a very strong social bond with them, and obviously a sexual bond with them, because we have a great time every time we get together with them.
Right. Yeah. And so it was just like the most interesting, and I want to say best, but there's a lot of bests. It was the best love-making session outside of my relationship with Ed that I've ever had.
There you go. The best sex.
While I was married or partnered with somebody. I mean, because I've had other boyfriends and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But, but you know what I mean. It was crazy.
It was kind of wild.
So I probably should have gone into more details, but we'll let you go and talk about yours.
Yeah, so I had a similar experience with Mrs. Red. There's lots of foreplay and kissing, which was a little frustrating for her, because she's so used to the interactions where it's kind of like wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like, she likes single guys, and so she's really into that kind of different experience than what she gets with Mr. Red, which I think that's just his style. Like, how he was playing with Phoebe that's just how he goes.
Yeah.
So
it could be, yeah.
So I was teasing her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of dragging it out.
Yes.
I like foreplay and I like kissing, and she's a good kisser. So I was there for a while.
And you were down between her legs for a while.
Oh, yeah. I do love to eat me some.
And she was begging for it.
Yes.
I heard that on the other side of the room, and I was just dying. I was like, oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I was, like I said, I was teasing her, so a little bit of the, you know, slapping the penis on the clit kind of thing, the rubbing, and just everything but what she was asking for, in a good way, right? Like,
yeah,
not in a wrong hole kind of way.
Right.
But, and she was complaining, using air quotes here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was great. So what was interesting, though, is that I think because the style that she likes and prefers, I was kind of playing off of that. And it was a little bit more on the fucking side of that sensuality.
Right.
But it wasn't straight on,
sport
bam,
fucking.
bam, thank you, ma'am.
Right.
And I'm done.
Right.
I took my time. I worked her up really good, and we destroyed that bed.
Oh yeah, you did.
And we even had one of the sport blankets down to like protect. But I think the second round is what actually did us in.
But see, you were a good fuck partner, dance partner,
Right?
Right. Just like with kissing, right? You
Followed her lead.
Exactly.
But I was still doing things. I was whispering things in her ear. I was kissing her neck. I was caressing her. I was having a good time just kind of exploring her. She's physically very different than Phoebe. And it's fun to play with somebody who's different.
Absolutely, yeah. Different bodies are so...
I know.
They're different. They're fun. They're interesting.
It's so amazing.
They're nice to explore.
It's that variety, right?
Yeah.
But the whole thing was still playful and light. We were having fun. Like, we were laughing. We would look over every once in a while at the other bed and see Phoebe and Mr. Red. And I was making comments back and forth with her about, oh, he's really giving it to her. I think she's enjoying that. Because I still like to check in on Phoebe and see if she's doing well, or at least having a good time.
Yeah.
But it was still passionate and intense.
Yeah.
Because we were both into it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And it was hot, and we were both really horny, so it was all kinds of fun.
So wait, go ahead.
Yeah. So we were still very focused on what we were doing, but we were still kind of paying attention to what was going on in the room.
Why do you think this was so different? Do you think because it's been different with them every single time.
Right.
And
I was thinking it was because this was the third time that we'd played with them, but the first two times were
fascinating.
Just as fun.
I wonder if it's just because, one, the individuals that they are, it's just so easy to be around. It's so comfortable.
They're passionate, fun people.
Just real individuals. Like, when I say real, there's no, like, barriers or...
Yeah, they're super honest and...
There's, like...
Yeah.
There's no
they're
walls.
Open.
Yeah, there's no walls. And we've had that privacy just to play in a room with just one couple, and we don't really have the opportunity to do that often. If we're at a party and we go into a room and close a door, which we have done, you're not in there for a very long period of time because you're at a party and other people want to use the room, so you're kind of
knock.
People will knock, or that's the only bathroom in that particular part.
You get the parade of
to use the bathroom. Yeah. So, or, the only other time we've had that privacy is at the hotels.
Right.
But we frequent a lot of parties, so you're not in that situation often unless you're setting up a date.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, the last two times we ended up, so to speak, in our room. So there wasn't this impetus to be done and leave.
Yeah, right.
It was our room. We could take as much time as we wanted to.
Right.
And I think the first time we played with them, we were still up until, I think, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And there was another couple in the room with us, and they were fun too. And we had a great time with them as well. But the connection specifically with Mr. and Mrs. Red was different. Mm-hmm. Like, we kind of get them. Like, it just clicks.
Yeah. I know. It's awesome. So now I'm going to talk about sport fucking. Like, how Ed defines sport fucking.
Right.
Because I did see something at a party.
Yeah, and we wanted to throw this in as a contrast because this was actually almost disturbing to watch.
For me, it was. I had to leave.
I was a little disturbed by it too.
Oh, you were?
Oh yes.
Well, I feel better now. Okay, so sport fucking. Think campus frat party, drinking, lots of flirting, quick decisions, falling on a bed, and just getting busy. Whee! Woo! Yeah, I've done that. Cruise ship playroom, downstairs, wall-to-wall people bent over fucking. Woo-wees.
Right.
It was so fun. I mean, yes, lots of fucking, sport fucking, but still that's kind of
your run-of-the-mill average, just
having
one night stand kind of sex.
Yes, the light version of sport fucking.
Yeah, it's still mostly fun and not like you're trying to hurt someone.
Yes. Okay, so here we are at our unicorn friend's house party. This is what I call extreme sport fucking. Bah, bah, bah.
Right? We think it's going to be a exhibition sport in the next Olympics.
Extreme. Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
I wouldn't participate.
Put me in, coach.
I don't know. I couldn't participate and I couldn't watch. So, okay, never mind. I don't like that.
Nah.
All right. So, it bordered on S&M kink is how I define it.
Right. In terms of like almost dominating them.
Yes.
But in an animalistic sense and not in a controlling sense.
Right. And it took me a while to process it afterwards because I had such a strong reaction to it. So here's this man, and he was, I'm not kidding you, he was literally the Hulk at 5 foot tall. Like, he looked like...
Guy's huge.
The Hulk, just shorter.
Right.
Massive, man, just massive. And I think his nose even had muscles. It was crazy. Okay, so there was a couch, and anyone could walk by. It was on this like landing area. So there was a couch and a man seated on the couch.
Right.
There was a woman on her hands and knees on the floor giving the guy on the couch a blowjob.
Right.
There was another woman off to the side of her shoulder, kneeling and, close by and watching, monitoring is what I decided later was happening. And then Mr. Hulk was behind the woman giving the blowjob, and he was fucking her. Now, he was in this low squat position. Mind you, she's on her knees. So he had to be really low because the woman wasn't that tall and he's short. And he's grabbing her hair and he is just fucking her. And here is the rhythm. That's how fast it was.
Right.
And I was like, and he was sweating and he was breathing heavy. And I was looking at the guy on the couch getting a blowjob. And I was like, oh my God, hopefully she's got a big mouth and she's not going to use teeth.
And the blowjob wasn't gentle at all either. Like she was getting hammered from both ends.
Oh God. See, I could only focus on Mr. Hulk at the end. So I had a really strong reaction to that, and I thought, ooh, it looks too violent for me. So I just had to turn around and leave the room.
Right.
What I didn't realize later was the woman off to the side was his wife, and she was making sure the other woman was okay. So I think it was that kind of dom submissive type of permission that they had with this other couple that I clearly knew them very well because I saw them engaging at the party later. And so they were obviously they seemed very comfortable with one another in order to go to this level of extreme sport fucking.
And apparently very comfortable with the nature of that sex.
Yeah.
And That's totally not our style.
So I say more power to them that they have
Right.
that level of comfort. But I was like, oh, hell no, I am not down for that. But I applaud them for experimenting and doing something which was clearly pleasurable. They liked it. I just couldn't watch it. It was just a little too violent for me.
It's outside of our wheelhouse, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah. Now, maybe in the past, if I'd had different life experiences, that display of extreme sport fucking maybe wouldn't affect me the way it does. But because of those life experiences that I've had in the past, that was my reaction. So there you go.
Well, and everybody likes to fuck a different way.
Yeah.
Some women need a lot more stimulation, and apparently this woman needed a lot of stimulation.
She just wanted to be pounded and controlled.
I get a good pounding, but this was,
I know,
as
it
we've
was-
described. It was really
It was extreme.
hard. So
My neck would have been broken the next day. Our different sex preferences. I would say Mr. and Mrs. Red are like kind of zero inhibitions, you know, with them
right, in terms of like
trying to classify
the openness and the level of communication and the level of kind of sincerity with the interaction.
Yeah. You can ask and say anything and it's just accepted. Or if it's not, you know, something you say what you want and it's, you know,
Everything's on the table for the most part. Yeah.
yeah, but if you say something that you don't want, they're like, okay, fine,
Yeah. No big
whatever. Yeah.
deal. No judgment zone.
Now we had another couple, well, two other couples. One couple sadly is not in the lifestyle anymore. That was local to us, and then there was this cruise couple that we played with, and that was more what I would call like explorative sex, where we were trying new things and experimenting.
It was
Experimenting.
we haven't tried that before.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Let's whip out that toy. Let's try this. Let's do this and that. Let's do like girl on girl. Let's do double-ended dildo. Let's do a strap. Let's do this. Let's do threesome. Let's do two. I mean,
They're the bucket list couple, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got their list and they're happy to share it with you and see if we can knock some stuff off.
yeah, but it's fun and it's playful and it's, you know,
It's exploring.
it's exploring. And I like couples like that because it's really fun. You get to learn and discover new things together and it's exciting.
Learning is fun.
Learning is fun. And then there's the, you know, love-making sex, which too I always have with you, and then we do fucking too.
Occasionally.
We like to get down and dirty. And then Mr. Red and Mrs. Red are back on that. They're just kind of everything.
Yeah, we'll have to get back together with them soon.
Yeah. Maybe we should invite them to Podcast-a-Palooza. By the way, it's coming up. If you're listening to this episode prior to June 2022, it's happening and we'll be announcing it soon in a different way. We're actually tweeting it already.
Yes.
But if you get to go, that's where you get to meet your lovely podcasters and have a great time and play at this resort. And there's, oh my God.
It looks fabulous.
It's a
We're
whole
so excited about going.
hotel takeover. Yeah. Some people get into the lifestyle to explore their sexuality and experiment, while others like to fixate on one thing. This could be a bucket list, as Ed was mentioning, with a rotation of new couples and very few intimate connections. There's no right or wrong, only how you want to explore the lifestyle. Maybe you have vanilla friends you only go to dinner with, and some you confide everything to. The lifestyle offers so many ways to grow and expand your sexuality, or just focus on a few kinks. Whatever it is for you, we hope you find fulfillment in your adventure together.
The Swinger University needs your help. If you like our podcast, let the world know, or at least tell a fellow swinger or two. Not only will you be helping us, you'll be helping your fellow swing lifestylers. Please rate and review us on Apple, Google, and Amazon podcasts. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. We're at TikTok at Swinger University, Twitter and Instagram at SwingU Podcast. Email us at swingeruniversity@gmail.com and visit our website at swingeruniversity.com, where you can find more information as well as visit our affiliates page to get a free 30-day membership at Cassidy.com. Thank you for listening to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment podcast.